So I want to show you how to make some of the synths to Immaterial by Sophie. I'm going to start with this bass layer. This is kind of like a slap house style bass. Now for slap house basses, I like to use FM, and what I'll often do is use these spectral wavetables. So these monster wavetables are pretty cool. Next I have this saw wave pluck, and I'm using 4 voices of unison on this saw wave and using the LFO1 attached to the chorus tuning to create this pitch down effect at the beginning of each pluck. And then I have this mount pluck sound, which I'm actually creating only using the FM modulation within Serum. Finally, I have this Mario or chirp pluck sound, and you can create this by taking your envelope 1 and then assigning it to your octave up here. And what it does is it goes up and down, so the pitch goes up and down really fast, and it creates this chirp sound. Let's make the fart synth to Vyzee by Sophie. Leave oscillator A on the default wavetable, raise up that level, lower the attack on envelope 1, adjust your LFO1, set it to envelope and set your rate to 1/8, assign LFO1 to the fine tuning of oscillator A, adjust that modulation. Then I'm going to automate this pan knob and pan it to the left for that second note, turn your voicing on to mono, add on a multi-band compressor, add on a low cut EQ around 260 Hz, and then a high cut around 6 to 7 kHz, assign your LFO1 to the low cut frequency, adjust that modulation, then I'll add on a sausage fattener, I'll add on an ambience reverb, then I'll add on this bright hall reverb, but automate it only on for that second note. And then I'll add another low cut and a high cut.
If you want to make them scream, look at me. It's simple, we'll make it easily.
Let's make the synth to BIPP by Sophie. Oscillator A, raise up the unison to 7, and go ahead and lower that detune. And let's raise up that level. Give envelope 1 some release. Adjust your envelope 2 like this. Add on an MG low 12 filter. Assign envelope 2 to that cutoff. Adjust that modulation and raise up your drive a tiny bit. Adjust your LFO1. Set it to envelope and raise your rate to 100 Hz. Assign LFO1 to the coarse tuning of oscillator A. Adjust that modulation. Turn on always and raise up your portamento. Add on a compressor. Add on a hall reverb and copy these settings. Then set your pitch bend amounts to 24 and -24 so they can automate these really fun pitch bends. Let's make the synth to Lipgloss by Charli XCX. Oscillator A, let's do digital icon has kick. Raise up your wavetable position to 100. Set your warp knob to sync. Set that to 1.16%. Add on a linear fold distortion. Set your drive to 20% and your mix to 60%. Add on a chorus and copy these settings. Let's cut out some frequencies around 1.5 kHz. And then I'll add on a hall reverb and go ahead and copy these settings. Let's make the intro bass to Vroom Vroom by Charli XCX. Oscillator A, let's do analog basic shapes, sine wave, lower the octave -2. Oscillator B, let's do analog basic shapes, sine wave, lower the octave -1, raise it up to +7 semitones, lower this level all the way. Go back to your warp knob on oscillator A and select FM from B, set that to 57%. Adjust your envelope 1. Adjust your envelope 2. Assign your envelope 2 to the FM from B and set that modulation really short to like 5. Now let's set your voicing to mono. Turn on your filter and let's do low 18. Turn on key tracking. Assign your envelope 1 to the cutoff. Adjust that modulation. Lower your resonance and raise up your drive. And then I'll add in a compressor and a low shelf EQ. Let's make the synth to Vroom Vroom by Charli XCX. Oscillator A, raise up the unison to 16. Lower that detune. Let's add on a bright white noise. Lower this level a tiny bit. Adjust your envelope 1. Adjust your LFO1 like this. Select envelope and set your rate to 1 bar. Assign your LFO1 to the coarse tuning of oscillator A. Set your modulation to -3. Adjust your LFO2. Set it to envelope and set your rate to 1/4. Add on an MG low 12 filter. Turn on for A and your noise. Assign LFO2 to that cutoff. Adjust that modulation. Adjust your resonance and drive. Add on a compressor. Add on a soft clip distortion. Adjust your drive and your mix. And add on a chorus and copy these settings. Let's make the bass to Unholy by Sam Smith and Kim Petras. Leave oscillator A on the default preset, raise up that unison to 7, lower that detune a tiny bit, go to your envelope 1, adjust it a bit like this, turn on your filter, let's do MG low 18, assign envelope 1 to the cutoff, adjust the modulation like this, raise up your resonance a tiny bit, and raise up your drive to about 30%. Now let's add on some tube distortion, raise up that drive, lower that mix. Now I'm going to add an EQ bump around 500 Hz. Then I'll add on some chorus, raise up that rate, lower that delay, lower the depth, raise up that low pass filter, and lower the mix. Now I'm gonna add on another filter. I'll do MG low 18, and I'll put the cutoff around 10 kilohertz, raise up that resonance, and add some drive. Let's make the intro bass to King of Hearts by Petras. First, add on a kickstart 2, turn your voicing onto mono, oscillator A to basic shapes, and we'll do a saw wave. Lower this randomness, lower the octave -1, turn on your sub and lower the octave -2 and raise up this level. Oscillator B, let's do analog basic shapes, and we'll do a square wave. Lower the octave -1 and lower this randomness, and lower the level to about 35%. Adjust your LFO1, set the mode to envelope and set the rate to 1/16. Set your LFO1 to the global master tuning, set your mount to 2. Add on a tape saturation, adjust your drive in your mix. Let's add a bit of a boost around 1.4 kilohertz. Then I'll add on a compressor, and then I'll add on the erosion plugin. Finally, I'll layer that bass with a noise layer. Let's make the intro synth to Pink Diamond by Charli XCX. Oscillator A, raise up your unison to 16 and go ahead and raise up that detune. Lower the randomness to about 50%. Turn on your noise, let's do analog ARP pink, raise up that level. Oscillator B, let's do analog basic shapes. Square wave and raise up that unison to 16 and raise up that detune. Turn your voicing onto mono, adjust your envelope 1, adjust your LFO1, go to your matrix and assign your LFO to your destination global master tune, set the amount to -1. Add on a tube distortion, set your drive to about 65% and raise your mix all the way up. Adjust your LFO2, set it to envelope and set your rate to about 7 Hz. Assign your LFO2 to the drive. Let's add on a compressor, add on a low cut EQ around 150 Hz, add on a plate reverb, add on a quarter note delay with a short feedback, and add some reverb only to that delay. Then group your reverb and delay together so that you can automate them both on and off. Let's make the Mario Pluck do Boys by Charli XCX. Oscillator A to analog basic shapes, square wave, raise it up +1 octave, set your warp knob to quantize. Copy oscillator A to B, set it to 0 octave, raise up that quantize to 20%, and lower that level. Set your voicing to mono, adjust your envelope 1, add on a downsample distortion, adjust your drive and adjust your mix, add on a hall reverb, and then add on a low cut EQ.
I was busy thinking about boys.
Let's make the bass too fancy by Charli XCX. Oscillator A, raise up the unison to 5, and lower that detune, and raise up that level. Oscillator B, lower the octave -1, raise the unison to 5 and go ahead and lower that detune, and lower that level to 30%. Add on a noise and let's do analog bright white, set the level to about 30%. Turn your voicing on to mono, give your envelope 1 some release. Adjust your envelope 2, add on an MG low 24 filter, turn it on for A, B, and also your noise. Assign envelope 2 to that cutoff, adjust that modulation, lower your resonance and raise up your drive. Add on a multi-band compressor. Add on the hyper dimension, lower the hyper mix, adjust your size and mix on the dimension. Let's add an EQ boost around 200 Hz. Add on a plate reverb and adjust these settings. Let's make the synth to Lost Woman Found by Arca. Oscillator A, raise up the unison to 16, lower the detune a tiny bit. Turn your voicing on to mono, adjust your envelope 1. Set your LFO1 to trigger and set your rate to about 10 Hz. Assign your LFO1 to your fine tuning of oscillator A, adjust that modulation. Go to your matrix and set your LFO to your global amp, set the amount to 25. Now set another source to Chaos 2, set your amount to about 40, and assign that to the panning of oscillator A. Add on a tube distortion, set your drive and mix to about 75%. Add on a flanger and copy these settings. Add on a low cut EQ and then a high cut. Add on a quarter note delay, and then add on a hall reverb and copy these settings. Let's make the bass do Good Ones by Charli XCX. Oscillator A to analog basic shapes, raise up this pulse wave, raise up the unison to 5, lower that detune, go to your global, adjust this width to 0. Turn Turn on oscillator B, raise up the unison to 4, lower that detune. Go to LFO1, let's do a bit crazy, adjust the rate to 1 bar, assign LFO1 to the fine tuning of oscillator A, adjust that modulation. Go to envelope 2, adjust it like this. Go to voicing, turn on mono, turn on your filter. Let's do Illangelo 18. Now assign envelope 2 to the cutoff, adjust the modulation, and raise up that drive to about 30%. Turn on the filter for A and B. Now let's add on a compressor, add on a tube distortion, raise up that drive, lower that mix, add on a chorus, raise up that rate, lower that delay, lower the depth, raise up that feedback, raise up that low pass filter, lower that mix. Then I'll add an EQ dip around 200 Hz. Then I'll add on the amp plugin with the bass setting. And then another EQ rolling off some low end. Let's make the bass too Gone by Charli XCX. Turn on your sub, select saw wave, oscillator A's go to analog BS2 filthy, lower the octave -1, raise up the unison to 7, lower that detune. Turn on oscillator B, let's do digital FM, lower the octave -1, raise up the unison to 5, lower that detune, raise up the wavetable position, lower the level all the way, go back to oscillator area, the warp knob, and do FM from B, raise it up to about 68%. Now I'll turn on my filter and do MG low 24, and I'll turn on for A, B, and also my sub. Let's raise up that drive. Now go to my envelope 1, and I'll make it look like this, give it some release, and I'll zoom in, and then give my attack a curve. Now I'll assign envelope 1 to the cutoff, and I'll adjust the modulation. Go to your voicing and select mono, and select always for your portamento, and raise it up to about 50 milliseconds. Now I'm going to add on another filter and do MG low 12, assign envelope 1 to the cutoff, adjust the modulation like this, and then raise up that drive. Then I'll add an EQ boost around 80 Hz, then assign my envelope 1 to a high shelf filter, and adjust the modulation. Then I'll add a short ambience or room reverb. Let's make the bass to I Wanna Be Software by Grimes and Illangelo. Turn your voicing on to mono, oscillator A's to analog basic shapes, adjust your fine tuning, and let's do a square wave. Raise up your unison to 8 and lower that detune. Select PWM on your warp knob, set that to about 39 or 40%. Go to your global and set the width of oscillator A and oscillator B to 0. Select copy oscillator A to B. On oscillator B, lower that detune and remove the PWM and lower this level. Go to your envelope 1 and lower this release. Add on a chorus, turn on BPM, set the rate to off, adjust your delay, your depth, and your feedback and low pass filter, and set the mix to 100%. Add on a compressor, and add a bit of an EQ bump in that low end.
I wanna be software. Upload my mind. Take all my deep.
Let's make the bass and lead synth to Speed Drive by Charli XCX. Let's start with the lead. We've got that voicing on mono and added some release to the envelope 1. Oscillator A, I'm using the basic mini and have that wavetable position at 3. PWM is 40%. I added on some ARP white, and then I assigned the envelope 2 to the level of the noise. I added on this MG low 24 filter, assigned envelope 2 to this cutoff. I added on a soft clip distortion. I added on a low cut EQ, and a bit of a boost around 3 kHz. So the verse is more mono sounding, and the chorus is more stereo. So what you can do is you can add on this hyper dimension with the mix at 100% for the chorus. Now for the bass, set your voicing to mono. I didn't really adjust this envelope 1. Oscillator A, I'm just using a saw wave, 7 voices of unison. Then I add on this diode 1 distortion with that post filter. Then I'm just adding a low end boost. And so for the chorus it's wider, so if you want to make it more mono, go to the globe and reduce your width to 0, and then just reduce this detuning. Let's make the synth to God's Chariot by Oklou. Oscillator A, let's do digital harmonic morph. Raise up that unison to 4 and lower that detune. Raise up that wavetable position to 70. Oscillator B, let's do analog basic shapes, sine wave, raise it up +2 octave and lower that level. Go back to your warp knob on oscillator A and select FM from B, raise it up to 21%. Adjust your envelope 1. Add on an MG low 18 filter, turn it on for A, B, your noise, and also turn on key tracking. Lower your cutoff, raise up that resonance and raise up that drive to let's say 30%. Turn on your noise and let's do analog bright white, raise up that level. Add on a tube distortion, adjust your drive and your mix. Add on a low cut around 80 Hz, and then give it a boost around 500 Hz. Add on a quarter note delay. Add on a hall reverb, and copy these settings. And then I'll add on a notch 12 filter, set the cutoff around 1000 Hz, and set the mix to 50%.
I woke up in a heat wave, and everybody's gone. Nobody can be wasted.